What happens when you capture street photos when you've got limited time and you're in a very limited area? Let's get into it. Today, we're diving into a unique challenge that's perfect for anyone, but especially for those of us who are over 40 and who want to enjoy street photography without walking miles. This challenge is simple but powerful. The idea is to stay within a small area, just a few meters in radius, and focus entirely on what you can capture within that space. You don't have to stand still like a statue. You can move a few meters either side and also adjust your perspective and frame your shots in unique compositions. Think of this as an exercise to slow down, sharpen your eye, and really observe the world around you. It's not about how many shots you take or even getting a perfect photo. This exercise is about being present with your camera and training yourself to notice any subject, light, color, or detail that catches your eye. For those of us over 40, this is a great way to stay creative without walking miles. For those of you who don't know, I smashed my leg up last year and it's not that much better. So this challenge would have been perfect had I not dragged myself to 4 locations in one day, just so I could give you as much value as possible. So please don't forget to share the love and send me a Valentine's card this February. My address is in the description. Here's a fun way to think about this challenge. It's a bit like Space Invaders. You're restricted to a small area, but you're strategically picking off subjects. Your aliens one by one. It's fun, it's focused, and it's surprisingly rewarding. So enough talking about video games, let's jump right in. Here's how it works. Set a timer for approximately 10 to 20 minutes, long enough to get in the flow, but short enough to keep it manageable. Number 2, choose a small area in a street or a specific place that you know and love, or even a place that you don't know and don't love, and make sure that you've got a working room of up to approximately 10 meters in radius. You can move within this space to find your shot, but the key is to stay close to your starting point. You can also face any direction so you can cross the road. This is why intersections are ideal for this challenge. They give you multiple viewpoints, straight ahead, to the side, or even something interesting behind you. And number 4, most importantly, relax. This is all about enjoying the moment and practicing your observation skills. Just a quick one. They say the best way to keep young is to keep learning. So please hit like and subscribe. It's much cheaper than anti-aging cream and just as effective. Thank you very much. Now let's talk about how to make the most of this challenge. First, look around for any kind of layering objects, things like street signs, lamp posts, or anything else that you find that could be used to layer your shots. These can add depth and variety to your images, especially in small areas. If we go back to the video game analogy, think about layering objects as power-ups that help you level up your composition. Just like in a game, using these elements strategically can make your photos more dynamic and engaging, especially within a limited space. By using what's immediately around you, you're training yourself to think creatively and make the most of your environment. Next, don't forget to capture any reflections in shop windows that are in your area. It's as simple as angling your camera to include the reflection whilst waiting for the subject to walk into the frame of your camera's LCD screen. Use an aperture of around f8 so that you get enough depth from the reflection to the subject walking through the frame. Plus, don't be afraid to capture subjects directly in shop windows, either eating or doing their trade. Finally, and most importantly, focus on sharpening your observation skills. Watch how the light falls, notice any shadows, colours, and especially any fleeting moments. Take your time to really see what's happening in your little area. Remember, it's not about volume. Even if you don't get a single shot that you love, you're still practicing one of the most valuable skills in photography, seeing. Let's get technical for a moment. Here are the settings that you can use for this exercise. To keep things speedy, shoot in aperture priority. I always do. Pick any aperture that gives you enough depth to capture the subject and include the background. On the day, I shot with an aperture of f4 and f4.5, which gave me the depth I wanted and also a little bit of softness, which I like in my images. And I also used f8 for the reflection shots. I swear by it, and I think you should too. Use auto ISO. For my purposes, it's 100 to 3200 with a minimum shutter speed of 1/250th of a second. Using a broad range for your auto ISO will give you flexibility to react quickly to subjects while keeping your shots sharp. In low light, your settings are gonna be different. When I was in this extremely atmospheric, darkened area of the Barbican that you can see here, and when I was in Chinatown at the end of the day, just as the light was falling, I switched to my night settings, aperture priority, an aperture of f2.8, auto ISO 800 to 6400, and a minimum shutter speed of 1/80th of a second. These settings will allow you to work in lower light while still capturing movement clearly. Feel free to adjust these settings to suit your camera, your shooting style, and your conditions. The key is to find what works for you. Within this beautiful walkway tunnel that's in King's Cross Station, I decided not to venture down the tunnel because I didn't want to ruin the illusion that there was something special at the end of it. So this really was an on-the-spot challenge. But importantly, by the power of Grayskull, I was able to bend my knees and crouch down and use this floor sign as a foreground object. So remember to try out different angles and perspectives because they're another tool in your arsenal to take unique and interesting images in this challenge. Many moments didn't turn into photos, and that's okay. I even made a mistake with my settings. But the upside of this was that I captured some interesting slow shutter speed, ghostly images of subjects in the market. So use the total embarrassment of my mistake to give you the impetus to get creative with your shutter speed settings as well. Finally, it's not all about people. If you know me by now, I love capturing big pile of rubbish. So keep your eyes peeled for on-the-street texture and colour details that other photographers might not care about or even notice. This challenge is great if, like me, you're over 40 and can't currently enjoy walking miles to find a shot. It's a low effort, high reward exercise that keeps your photography engaging without overexerting yourself. Plus, it's a brilliant way to hone your patience and creativity. You're working with what's right in front of you, which can feel both calming and rewarding. The real value of this small area challenge is slowing down and noticing details you might otherwise miss. So this is the small area challenge. It's all about being present, sharpening your observation skills, and making the most of a small area. But I want to know, if you were to try this challenge, where would you pick? Please let me know down below. Whether you take 10 minutes or 20, give it a try. You might be surprised by what you discover. Now go and watch this video where I do a one street challenge in one of the most interesting and colourful places in London, Brick Lane. Until we meet again, go forth and create.